friends. Welcome to the Inspiring You Show. If we haven't met, I'm Henry. This, my friends, is going to be a mindfulness talk about one of the energy theme forecasts for April. Theme number 1, the sacred art of reconstructing the self, a sacred bridge to soul embodiment. But first, my friends, let's just take a gentle moment together to arrive. If it's safe to do so, allow yourself to lower your gaze or close your eyes. And then take a nice deep breath in through the nose. And then exhale slowly out through your mouth if that's comfortable for you. And let's do that 2 more times. Again. All right, let's just take a moment to bring your shoulders up and then let them drop. Let them go up again and then let them drop. One more time. Up, let them drop. And then you can just move your body a little bit. Feel yourself grounding, arriving fully in the space of this moment. Let yourself take another inhale now, just through the nose, and exhale through the nose. Breathing in presence, clarity, stillness. Exhaling pressure, noise, urgency. Breathing in life force energy. Breathing out what no longer supports you. So now I'm just going to invite Reiki energy healing. And if you wish to receive Reiki, you can say, yes, I like to receive Reiki for my highest good. If you don't, that's okay. Reiki always respects free will. So this will be a light infused talk if you wish to receive. Remember, you have free will. You call to you what you want for your highest good in co-creation with the universe. All right, take another deep breath. All right, my friends, let's begin the talk. So we are entering the first theme. We're going to be talking about the first theme of April 2025's energy forecast, which is a powerful invitation to rebuild, reconstruct, but not from old patterns this time. We are rebuilding from soul. So we're going to be exploring this first theme of the April 2025 energy forecast, one of the 9 themes guiding us through the month of deep transformation. If you would like the full energy forecast in its entirety all at once, then head to one of the previous episodes, whether it's on the podcast, The Inspiring You Show, or on YouTube, one of the previous episodes. There will be a complete perspective. But for now, we're going to journey into this theme number 1, the sacred art of reconstructing the self, a sacred bridge to soul embodiment. April opens a doorway, a sacred pause between intensity of karmic release and the clarity of what's next. After the deep purging of March's eclipse beneficial portal, many of us are finding ourselves in a liminal space. The past has crumbled, but the future hasn't fully revealed itself yet. And there may be discomfort in that in between. But it's also where the real magic begins. This is not a space of wanting, it's a sacred space of reconstruction. A space where we return to our center, where we realign with our soul, where we consciously begin again, not from fear or force, but from the heart, wisdom, and the embodied light truth. As April arrives like this soft breath in some ways after the storm of March, a moment suspended in time. We are no longer who we were, and yet we haven't fully stepped into who we're becoming. And this space, that's what we often call the in between, that liminal space. And it can sometimes feel confusing, restless, or even disorienting. But in truth, it's one of the most sacred phases of transformation. This is the chrysalis. This is the place where the caterpillar has dissolved. This is the place where the caterpillar has dissolved, but the butterfly has not yet emerged. And that is precisely where the sacred art of reconstructing the self begins. So, with that, then, we've been experiencing in some ways going from karmic collapse to soul led clarity. So, the intense eclipses and cosmic purges of March didn't just stir things up, They dismantled parts of our identity, beliefs, and energetic attachments that were no longer resonant with our soul's path. These energetic breakdowns were not a mistake. They were a preparation, a clearing of old karmic contracts, outdated timelines, and inherited stories so we could begin again, cleaner, clearer, more aligned. But here is where many of us struggle. After collapse, our instinct is to rebuild quickly, to grasp at it in terms of the clarity, to restore control. But April doesn't rush, it invites us to pause. So, this phase is not a void, it's a womb. It's a gestational period phase alive with potential. This liminal space is not a delay, it's an activation. It's not waiting, it's reconstructing. And that reconstruction is not happening out there, it's happening in you. In terms of the psychological aspect of this is a process known as, and some would say, identity reformation, reforming your identity. It's a reshaping of your internal self concept after a significant shift in values, experiences, or realizations. So your identity is reshaping, reforming. So you are no longer living from old trauma responses, outdated survival patterns, or external projections, but your new form hasn't yet solidified. Energetically, your frequency is still settling. You're integrating a new vibration, and with that comes the need to allow time to reconstruct, to rebuild the energetic structures that will support the next phase of your life, relationships, roles, habits, and priorities. And then that's what makes this also a sacred light bridge, one that connects who you were to who you're becoming. This is your becoming. So, one that invites you to reconstruct, to rebuild from heart wisdom, not ego fear, from a soul alignment, not societal expectation. So, what does it mean then to reconstruct from the heart? So, reconstructing from the heart, what does that actually mean? So, to reconstruct from the heart is to ask, what actually resonates with me now? So, you can put your hands on your heart, take a nice deep breath, and ask yourself, what actually resonates with me now? Take time to process and answer that. What light truth is rising from within me, even if it doesn't yet make sense? What light truth is rising from within me, even if it yet doesn't make sense? What part of me is trying to lead this new chapter? And is it my wounding or is it my wisdom? That's a really important question to ponder. What part of me is trying to lead? What part of me is trying to lead this new chapter? Is it my wounding or is it my wisdom? And this, my friends, is your opportunity to not repeat the old cycle in a new form. This is your opportunity to reclaim the parts of yourself you abandoned. Rewire the way you make choices, not from panic or programming, but from peace and presence. Restore the energy you once scattered across timelines, people, and identities who are no longer part of your becoming. This isn't about fixing yourself. You are never broken. This is about consciously curating a life that feels true, built on the solid foundation of inner alignment, not external approval. So then why this soul why is this in terms of soul embodiment in terms of this moment? Soul embodiment isn't a grand event. It is a series of present moment choices that honor your deepest light truth, even when it feels sometimes inconvenient, lonely, or unclear. In this reconstruction phase, soul embodiment means at times really learning to listen to your inner cues before external advice. I had a couple moments in the last couple weeks where I just had memories and flashes coming into clear where I didn't listen to my gut, my intuition, and I was in that space of just, really wanting to people please. So I was listening to external advice and I just kind of pushed my intuition down. And I just had that moment of like, oh, wow. And then the memory was cleared. It was clearing. It was in a clearing process. And and I also could see then how far I've come in regard to my own, my humaning and my own, here to live, learn, grow, and evolve. And I could have gratitude for those experiences because they really supported my human to grow. So listening to your inner cues before external advice, choosing integrity over urgency, being willing to release a plan that no longer feels aligned even if it once made sense. And that could mean your business too, and I know that can be really hard because 'cause you're like, "Oh, what does that mean?" Honoring the body's wisdom because your nervous system is attuning to a new frequency and it may need more rest, stillness, and softness than your ego wants to allow. So, this is not passive, it's profoundly active in the most feminine, energetically and attuned way because your divine feminine is also balancing with your divine masculine. You are becoming, my friends, you are becoming the architect of your next chapter, and your tools are not spreadsheets or deadlines. They are intuition, presence, clarity, and trust because you are becoming more soul embodied and living, and it's really in some ways balancing then allowing your soul light to be embodied in your human and then balancing the experience in regard to your soul and your human because you're multidimensional. And so, you're living in a physical world. And so it's learning how to be in that multidimensional sense. So, this sacred theme is really asking to meet yourself right where you are in the pause, in the unknown, in the quiet tremble of becoming. And remember, this is not limbo, this is sacred ground. You're not behind, you're not lost. You're in the midst of reconstructing a reality that matches your inner light truth. And if you let it, this month will gently guide you into a deeper embodiment of your soul's frequency, more so than ever before. You're crossing the threshold. And with every breath, every moment of conscious presence, you are then building, you are building the bridge home. So then you are building the bridge home. So with that, then we're not just healing anymore. And that's what this theme is really all about. We're not just healing anymore. We are reconstructing, we're rebuilding, but this time with intention. This theme is about spiritual architecture of your life, reclaiming your energetic blueprint and piecing it back together based on who you've become. The old scaffolding based in survival, performance, people pleasing, inherited beliefs no longer fits. This is your time to reorganize your life from the inside out. Clarify what's worth carrying forward, release what belonged to the old identity, and trust that presence, not productivity, is your greatest ally right now. We're not just healing anymore, we are reconstructing, we are rebuilding, but this time with intention. And also, this isn't just another round of clearing. You've already moved through the purge. You've looked You've looked your shadows in the eye. I don't know about y'all, man, March was intense for me at moments. Yeah, I've not had one of those experiences like that level. I've had moments in the last, year or so, but not like that in a long time. That reminded me of one of the first times I was going through, one of the ascension waves. Like, it must have been like, I feel like it was many, 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 many years ago. Could have been like maybe I wanna say like 10, 15 years ago. It was really intense for me at times. So this is you've already moved through the purge. You looked your shadows in the eye. You've unhooked from the stories that no longer support you. And now you're standing in the aftermath of all the inner work. So, this is the reconstruction moment, and it's sacred. It is a sacred moment. The past was about survival and managing. Boy, was that, I don't know about you, but I've had many experiences in the past of survival. Oh, yeah. The past was about survival and about learning how to navigate a world that didn't always reflect your light essence. But now you're not navigating from fear. You're starting to architect. You're starting to be the architect from the soul. You're starting to build from the soul. You are the architect from the soul now, the soul architect. This is a shift from emotional excavation to energetic creation, from wounding as the reference point to wisdom as the blueprint, from external approval to internal alignment as the design code, your divine blueprint. So then you're in the spiritual architecture of your life. And let's talk about this in terms of the phrase spiritual architecture because it holds power. Spiritual architecture is the energetic structure of your life. It's the framework, both seen and unseen, that determines how you move through the world. It it includes your values, your frequency, your habits, your choices, your relationships, the beliefs that underpin them all. And so, in the past versions of yourself, the architecture may have been built from survival, doing what had doing what you had to do to stay safe emotionally, mentally, physically, spiritually, financially, performance, becoming who others needed you to be so you could feel worthy, people pleasing, silencing your truth to maintain harmony, inherited beliefs, living inside scripts written by family, culture, religion, or trauma. But now, the scaffolding no longer holds. Why? Because you've outgrown the architecture. Your frequency has changed. Your awareness has expanded. And just like an old house that no longer fits your soul, the energetic structures you built to survive are now too small to thrive in. This is then about you reclaiming your energetic blueprint. Your energetic blueprint is your soul's original divine design. It carries the codes of your light essence, your purpose, your gifts, your natural rhythm, your desires. But over time, many of us have, but over time, many of us layered over that blueprint with programs, fears, inherited patterns, or conditioning. We internalize the rules of others, often at the expense of our own inner knowing. It's not right, wrong, good or bad. It's the business of business. And it's also in terms of being human. It's the humaning experience where you're here to learn, grow, and evolve. And so that's why, in terms of the cosmic energies coming in to support us, it's really understanding like, I'm really here to learn, grow, and evolve in this human experience, learning how to be light in physical form, possibly again and again if you had past lives or believe in them. So, this theme invites you to return to the original design, the original divine blueprint, not to become who you once were, but to remember what has always been true underneath the noise. So, here are some questions to ask yourself. What does it feel like to live from the inside out? What does it feel like to live from the inside out? What do I know to be true about myself now that I didn't before? What do I know to be true about myself now that I didn't before? What parts of me are rising now that I used to push down? What parts of me are rising now that I used to push down? So letting yourself meet these parts or any information that's coming up with gentleness, kindness, mindfulness, and also letting yourself reclaim your blueprint. Reclaiming your blueprint is a vibrational act. It requires tuning into your energy and listening to your body's light truth, your body's physical body truth too, not just your mind's programming. So that's where then doing meditation can really help out, going inward. Because, and also just know you might have to lean into patience because this isn't about changing your entire outer world overnight. That would be performative change, not embodied transformation. And that is the distinction and the discernment to make. That would be performative change. That would be performative change, not embodied transformation. So recognizing in terms of what it means to reorganize your life from inside out. So instead, this is about subtle, powerful internal shifts that ripple outward. Can you realign your priorities to match your values, not your fears? Can you realign your priorities to match your values, not your fears? Can you let your nervous system lead the pace instead of your inner critic? Can you let your nervous system lead the pace instead of your inner critic? Can you set up daily rhythm in a way that supports your energy, not the hustle culture template? That's a good one, right? Can you set up your daily rhythm in a way that supports your energy, not the hustle culture template? Y'all, I wanted to do these energy forecasts that are broken up into smaller themes. Like, I wanted to do them like a week ago. And I was like, oh, I can't. I had to do a lot of resting because I was doing a lot of clearing and integrating. And then today I'm like, yes, today I'm gonna do 3 episodes in a row. And now I think I started at like I think I got here at like in the seat around 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And I'm like, yep, maybe just be doing one. Because it's not about being in the hustle culture template. It's just about setting up your daily rhythm in a way that supports your energy. And there are other things that I needed to support. And that's where you learn, you start to use the discernment. So, to reorganize from the inside out is to live in a way that feels good on the inside, even if it makes no sense to others on the outside. So, then clarifying what's worth carrying forward. My friends, this is like a sacred inventory time. You're not here to drag your past into your future just because it's familiar. Now's the time to ask what patterns, identities, roles, or commitments were built on the old version of me. What patterns, identities, roles, or commitments were built on the old version of me? Take some time with that question. Take some, you know, a couple of months ago, the guides encouraged me to take a look at some of the books that I had already read previously in some of my trauma informed courses. And they're on the attachment styles in terms of, anxiety attachment style, avoidant attachment style. And it's been really interesting because I had a whole just clarity on it. And as I was going through March and things were purging, I felt like I was in the Wizard of Oz meets A Christmas Carol where, if you watch The Wizard of Oz, when Dorothy, her house is like just circling in the tornado and everything's swirling around. I felt like I had everything is like swirling around in terms of memories from the past. And then I felt at some point I was in the Christmas Carol where, it's like the ghost of Christmas past and all these memories were coming up. But as these memories were coming up, I then had this huge awareness of consciousness of like where I was at the time, my vibrational frequency, old programs that were clearing and where I was in my relationship to healing in terms of my human. And then I was also able to look at like, wow, that that ended up being this type of relationship. And maybe, we both had anxiety attachment styles or whatever kind of attachment styles that then we were like mirroring each other in past relationships. And it just enabled me to then see the relationships differently and be able to really allow them to come to completion and purge and clear any kind of non-beneficial patterns, programs, limited beliefs, any kind of non-psychic cords, and allow me to come to completion so I can move forward in my present and into my future. And allowing then, some of the relationships that are in my life now, in terms of their healthy, balanced relationships compared to when I was working many years ago in television, where it just we were working 18-hour days, sometimes 7 days a week, and there was just a lot in terms of what was happening at times. And so I have just done so much excavating in regard to my human in terms of healing. And this last month was a pinnacle moment for me, a real pinnacle moment of just looking at, wow, how far I've traveled and how much I've committed to my own healing. And then also being willing to be healed and being willing to complete the process and being in blessings of relationships coming to completion. So that way I don't need to cycle and circle like it's like the Wizard of Oz meets A Christmas Carol, in terms of the ghost of past. I don't need to cycle in it. I can complete. But also I had a huge understanding and a realization of fundamentally the frequencies and also the overlay of like the different attachment styles and how trauma can really affect people and how trauma can affect relationships and how also if you don't have mindful communication how that can affect relationships and or if you don't have a willingness of two people in a party who are committed to using tools to continue working with one another and helping, in terms of bridging the gap and supporting one another to regulate and coming into harmony, not out of codependency, but truly out of the act of love for one another and supporting in this, physical world. And so with that, then I share that because, you know, it is time for you to ask for you. What patterns, identities, roles, or commitments were built on the old version of you? Because this is what is being asked. There could have been yes, there was a clearing happening, but whether or not you actually embody your soul and whether or not you actually reconstruct and also whether or not you actually are activating light codes, it doesn't just go poof the magic dragon. It actually you as a human, you not only have to say yes to it for the highest good, but there is work in it. Some things do shift, but when you're talking about something like this, that you're healing in a multidimensional way, it is about self-realization in it. Wow, that's where I was at, and that's what I was learning, and that's what I was growing, and that's what I was healing, and that's the wisdom on it. Wow. And then you can be in the experience of like, that's the wisdom of what I learned. And then you can allow the book to be completed. But the book doesn't get to be completed unless you've had that kind of moment as a human. And I know people are like, I don't like journaling or I don't. Well, you don't need to physically sit and write. Just pause this podcast. Take a moment and answer the question. What patterns, identities, roles, commitments were built on an old version of you? Go for a walk. See what comes up. Because the deeper you go with it, that's going to be dependent then on how much your soul can actually be embodied. If you're not willing to go beyond the surface, how the heck is your soul going to be embodied? There's not going to be any room because you'll be caught. You'll still have patterns and programs. You have free will. Yes, the universe is trying to help us out by bringing all these cosmic energies, but whether or not you actually fully accept the clearings, that's up to you, my friend, because you have free will. So, okay, the next question. What dreams still feel alive and aligned? What dreams still feel alive and aligned? Take time to answer that. I had a whole moment in terms of coming into April where I was like, huh. I was like, gosh golly, do I still resonate and want to still do podcasting and social media? I had a moment where I was like, one day I was like, I think I'm just going to shut it all down. I think I'm just done. I was at the crossroads. I was at that threshold where I was like, is this still aligned? Does this dream still feel alive and aligned? And I went on a long walk and I was contemplating, and then I was like, you know what? We're not going to make any rash decisions. We're going to meditate, pray on it. We're going to talk to the guides about it. We're going to go to bed and get a good night's sleep. And yeah, I mean, and I didn't have the answer for a couple days. I was just contemplating, is the dream of me still showing up doing this podcast, coming on YouTube live streaming, going on social media, is that dream still feel alive and aligned? Or do I feel like, wow, I'm putting a lot of time and work and effort into something? And I'm like, huh, but is it really, I don't know, is it worth it anymore? Yeah, and so I had to answer that, and also it was during the time when the solar plexus was really tight and clearing, and yeah. And then eventually, the answer came in that at this time, podcasting, YouTubing, like a word, YouTubing? I'm still so new on YouTube. YouTubing, social media, like it's still, that dream is still alive and aligned. So here I am. Here I am doing this but I did contemplate it and I just was like, wow, huh. So, because I also had to check in with myself too, where, when I worked in production, there was moments where I got really burned out and that's where it's like, okay, I don't want to get burnt out. And that's what it was, the key for me is I don't want to get burnt out. And so I had to then be like, okay, how can I reorganize this for myself that feels then I'm in balance? But the dream though is still alive and aligned. So then if there's something for you and you're contemplating, maybe there's another question that you have to ask. Like for me, I realized, oh, I just have to reorganize things so that way my human feels in balance when things, and I also have to just clear myself from being burnt out from previous experiences of production, from working in television. So the next question to ask is, what can I bless, thank, and lovingly release? Y'all, I had I'm not even kidding you. There was 5 pages back and forth of what I can bless, thank, and lovingly release. And then I did a whole Reiki session on it. So you answer that. What can I bless, thank, and lovingly release? What can I bless, thank, and lovingly release? This is about traveling lighter, not because everything is gone, but because what remains is aligned. So take some time, my friends. Release what belonged to the old identity. Every version of you served a purpose, even the ones that held fear, people pleased, or hid. In my experience too, in the last, month or so, month and a half now, I just saw so many moments where my younger version just was people pleasing or hiding or held in fear. And oh, that girl, I was hugging her. I was giving her so much love. I'm like, girl, I see you and I love you. Because every version of you served a purpose, even the ones that held fear, anxiety, people pleased, or hid. But if you try to move forward carrying an identity that no longer resonates with your vibration, you'll feel stuck, confused, or fragmented. This is the time to lay old roles down, to lovingly dissolve personas that were necessary then, but not anymore. You don't need to apologize for outgrowing who you used to be. That's not betrayal. Y'all, that's called evolution. And you still can do it with loving kindness, compassion, care, and mindfulness. All right, so let's then talk about presence, not productivity, is your greatest ally right now. In this in between phase, there is a pull to figure it all out. This human experience, especially in the United States, I don't know in terms of anywhere else in the world where there is like such a push at times, like to know it all or to figure it all out or whoo in this in between phase, you may feel this pull to figure it all out, to rush into clarity, to do something. But this phase of reconstruction is not built on doing. I'm going to say that for y'all in the back. This phase of reconstruction is not built on doing. It is built on being. It is built on beingness. Presence is the frequency of beingness. Presence is the frequency of trust. Productivity, when driven by fear, becomes a bypass of the inner work. I'm going to repeat that. Productivity, when driven by fear, also anxiety, becomes a bypass of the inner work. Let your nervous system rest. Let your energy reconfigure. Let the next version of your life emerge from clarity, not urgency. Don't rush you becoming a butterfly. Let yourself emerge from the cocoon when you are done reconfiguring. And again, this moment mirrors the psychological process, in some ways, what some people would say ego death and integration, where our old identity structures dissolve and we're faced with the disorientation that comes before a deeper self concept is born. Many people experience this after major life transitions, spiritual awakenings, or trauma processing. Some of you may feel ungrounded or undefined right now. That's expected. It's the threshold between shedding what's false and becoming what's true. It's the liminal state, the in between state. So, this part of the journey may feel subtle on the outside, but y'all, internally, it is monumental. The old energetic cycles are collapsing, and your soul is inviting you into something far, far more enduring. A reconstruction based not on survival, but on resonance. This is the deeper energetic invitation. It doesn't mean you'll know exactly what to do. That's the gift of this moment. It's not demanding action, it's inviting alignment. You might feel tender, foggy, tired, or uncertain. That's not regression, that's recalibration. The nervous system might resist slowing down. The mind might crave a plan, but the soul whispers, wait, listen, rebuild only from love. Wait, listen, rebuild only from love. And y'all, friends, this is where frequency meets choice. You are attuning to a higher vibration of light truth. And from there, you'll rebuild with resonance. So, with that, then, just breaking it down even more so, when you are moving from karmic collapse to soul anchored clarity, you have to bring in the patience because many have felt the intensity from March, that karmic purge that was stirred up by eclipse energies, retrogrades, collective shifts. That karmic collapse may have looked like old patterns or relationships suddenly dissolving, identity confusion or questioning your purpose, emotional waves, endings, or existential fatigue. Yo, I had a moment where I was like, oh my God, I think I'm in my existential identity crisis. What is happening? I've not had one of those again in like definitely more than a decade. I was like, what is happening? I'm like, oh my God, I have so many tools. What? And I was like, wow, this is the power of that purge. It is strong. I was in that existential, oh God, that existential, like, whoa, what am I to do with my life? We were swirling around in it. I was probably in it for a good couple days. Oh my God. God bless the human experience. So, the guys just come in, they're just like, it's okay, just breathe, breathe. Jesus was doing nervous system resets with me. It's okay, breathe, patience, you're okay. It's just things are just being cleared. It's like the illusions are being cleared and just keep breathing, keep anchoring, regrounding. So, this collapse isn't chaos for chaos' sake, it's a clearing. It's a dismantling of everything that was constructed on a frequency that no longer matches your becoming. Now, as April arrives, and we're halfway through it now, you're stepping onto the other side. But instead of being given a clear map, you're met with stillness, subtlety, space, liminal space. This is the threshold between endings and new beginnings, and it's often misinterpreted as stagnation. But make no mistake, you're not lost, you're landing. You're moving into what we might call soul anchored clarity, a state where your inner alignment becomes more important than any external definition. And that clarity won't often scream, it won't demand, it will whisper. It will whisper like a tuning fork, vibrating through your system with a quiet but certain yes. That's why you have to go into stillness so you can hear the whispers. You might also still feel tender, foggy, tired, or uncertain. And let's just normalize this. These are signs of recalibration, not regression. And some you might even hear like ascension flu. So these are signs of recalibration, ascension, not regression. Tenderness means your heart is opening to a new level of sensitivity and receptivity. Foggy headiness is your mental field relaxing, creating space for deeper light truths to surface beneath the noise. Fatigue signals deep healing is happening beneath the surface. Your system is integrating at a vibrational level. Uncertainty is actually sacred emptiness. It is a space where new soul directors will begin to rise. You're not failing because you feel slower than usual. You're simply vibrating at a different frequency, and your body, mind, and field need time to catch up. So, with that, then, the nervous system, when you're looking at it, if you've been in survival mode, for most of your life, which let's be honest, most of us have at some degree, then stillness can also feel threatening. Your nervous system might resist slowing down. So, this is where we're talking psychology and trauma for a moment. Your nervous system might really resist slowing down because if you've been in survival mode most of your life, then stillness sometimes can feel threatening. Slowing down can trigger your protective systems. The mind wants to plan, the body wants to move, the inner critic demands productivity. Why? Because staying busy used to keep you safe emotionally, relationally, even physically. Slowing down used to equal vulnerability. Slowing down slowing down used to equal vulnerability. But now your nervous system is being invited to recalibrate to safety in stillness, to stop equating momentum with meaning, to stop performing healing and start embodying presence. The energy just changed and it just shifted into that peace energy that I love it when it happens, you're like, oh, it feels so good. And that's where we're going into that stillness, recalibrating. So, with it though, you might need to work with practitioners this month to support you, work with nervous system somatic tools, energy work, because this might take time. Be gentle with yourself. This is a frequency shift and also a physiological shift. So, take some time with this. All right. So then the soul whispers, wait, listen, rebuild only from love. This line holds the sacred key. You're not being asked to do, you're being asked to attune. Your soul isn't in a hurry. It's infinitely patient and infinitely wise. It knows that anything built from fear, urgency, or self doubt will never hold. It will collapse under its own vibration. But when you rebuild from love, from inner light truth and soul knowing in embodied alignment, what you create will last. It will nourish you and ripple outward in ways you can't even imagine yet. So, this is not the time for performance, it's a time for presence. And then this is where frequency meets choice. So, this is the sacred moment of conscious creation. Frequency equals your energetic state of being. Choice equals how you respond from that state. The more aligned your frequency, the more clear and empowered your choices can become. And right now, you're tuning to a higher vibration of light truth, one that honors who you are now, not who you used to be. And from that frequency, choices become more intuitive, more resonance, less reactive, deeply aligned. And this is the spiritual invitation to wait until it feels right in your body, not just your mind, to act from coherence, not confusion, to rebuild with integrity, not old identities. So here's some mindfulness reflection. Ask yourself, what does alignment feel like in my body? What does alignment feel like in my body? Can I allow clarity to rise naturally rather than force it into form? Can I allow clarity to rise naturally rather than force it into form? What choices feel true in this moment, not based on pressure, but on peace? What choices feel true in this moment, not based on pressure, but on peace? So, this is how you walk the sacred bridge to soul embodiment, not with certainty, but with sincerity, not by rushing, but by resting into what's real. So, with that, then, the sacred art of reconstructing the self is not just a poetic phrase, it reflects a very real psychological and energetic transformation happening. And so, with that, then, again, this theme is really touching upon identity clearing in some ways, the dissolving of old identities, a process where old ways of seeing yourself fall away and a new self image is being born. So, acknowledging though, then yes, that can stir anxiety, grief, or even a strange sense of emptiness. This is normal. It means you're no longer identifying with outdated roles or wounded stories. And from a vibrational perspective, this is an elevation. You are tuning to a different octave. And in order to hold more light, your field must be cleared and your systems restructured to support it. This is embodiment work. It's a return to integrity, to rebuilding your life in alignment with your values, your healing, and your intuitive knowing in regard to connection to your higher self soul. So, this period is representing what is known as releasing from old identities, or some people will say ego disintegration, whatever you want to call it. It's a breakdown of the inner scaffolding that once defined who you thought you were. And this may arise as losing interest in things that once deeply mattered, no longer resonating with roles, relationships, or routines, feeling like you don't know who you are anymore. And this isn't a problem, it's a sign of deep psychological growth. When we release attachment to outdated identities, whether those rooted in performance, perfectionism, or survival roles, or trauma responses, we create space for something more authentic to emerge. But here's the catch: the in between isn't very comfortable. In fact, it's quite uncomfortable at times. When the old identity is dissolving and the new one hasn't fully arrived, the psyche can experience anxiety. Who am I without that role? Grief. That version of me kept me safe. Emptiness or disorientation. If I'm not that anymore, what now? All of that is normal. This is all normal. You're not broken. You're just in transition. You're in the transformation state. You're in the cocoon state. You're going from being a caterpillar into a butterfly. And this is where tool work is going to be your ally. Energy work. I do Reiki and dowsing energy work. Somatic tools, mindfulness meditation. I also do Kundalini yoga meditation, chanting meditation. It is going to be a round table of tools. It's not going to probably just be one. Layer those tools on. And instead of reacting to the discomfort, mindfulness invites you to observe it all with compassion. And that's why I love mindfulness. Observe it with compassion, loving kindness. Here's some examples. I notice I'm feeling lost. I wonder what's trying to emerge beneath this fog. I notice I'm feeling lost. I wonder what's trying to emerge beneath this fog. I feel sadness as I let go of this role, but also curiosity about who I'm becoming. I feel anxiety as I let go of this role, but also curiosity who I'm becoming. Mindfulness helps you anchor in the present without needing to fix it. It creates the space for the new you to arrive in its own time, free from distortions of old patterns. And then energy work can support clearing and then calling in that new vibrational frequency. So, with that, then, from an energetic perspective, this identity shift coincides with a vibrational recalibration. You are attuning to a new frequency of light, truth, healing, and embodiment. And that means your entire system, physical, emotional, mental, energetic, is undergoing significant upgrade. You are elevating your frequency. You're being asked to hold more light. But to do that, your system must first release old density, energetic clutter from past wounds, emotional residue from suppressed experiences, mental noise from limiting beliefs and inherited narratives. This process can feel intense at times. Sometimes it feels like a detox physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, energetically. You may experience waves of tiredness or needing more sleep, digestive or stomach shifts around the solar plexus being rewired, emotional purging, crying without a clear reason, or spontaneous releases, relationship realignments. Those no longer resonant begin to fall away. From a frequency lens, this is all healthy. You're not malfunctioning, you're restructuring, you're recalibrating. So here's the soul level truth. You're not just shifting ideas, you're changing your vibration, and that requires integration in your body, not just your mind. Embodiment means your actions begin to match your healing, your choices reflect your intuitive knowing, your boundaries arise from self-respect, not reaction. Your values aren't theoretical, they're lived moment by moment. It's not about becoming a new you, it's about finally aligning with who you've always been beneath the programming. This is a return to integrity where the inner and the outer self begin to mirror one another, where your energy, emotions, and everyday behaviors are in resonance. So, again, some more mindful reflections, the pause and inquire. What parts of me no longer resonate with who I'm becoming? Take time to answer that question. What parts of me are no longer resonant with who I am becoming? And the next question, am I actually making space in my body and life to integrate this new frequency? Everybody wants to do it. They're like, oh my God, I did that amazing, quantum meditation. Wow. And then that's it. But are you really making space in the body and life to integrate the new frequency? What would it feel like to live fully from my values rather than my fear? What would it feel like to live fully from my values rather than my fear? So let this be a grounded inquiry, mindfulness, not from pressure to perform or to get it right. This work is sacred. It takes time. So give yourself permission to process. And here are some tools for integration on how to work with this theme in your daily life. This theme isn't just philosophical, it's practical. Here is how you can embody the sacred art of reconstruction. This phase of reconstruction, again, isn't theoretical, it is embodied, conscious, lived. Here's practical, soul-aligned tools and practices to help you integrate this theme with mindfulness, energy awareness, and emotional groundedness. 1, do a daily alignment check-in. Each morning, ask yourself, what energy do I want to build with today? So daily alignment check-in. Each morning, ask yourself, what energy do I want to build with today? The next question, what truth needs to be honored as I move forward? What truth needs to be honored as I move forward? And then you can do energetic journaling, clarify what stays, what goes, what emerges. You can either write this down or on a walk. But this month is about intention and discernment. You're rebuilding, reconstructing your life with presence, not dragging the old into the new. So here are some journal prompts. What am I still carrying that belongs to a former version of myself? What am I still carrying that belongs to a former version of me? What values and truths feel non-negotiable now? What values and truths now feel non-negotiable now? What parts of me are ready to be seen, honored, and expressed in new ways? What parts of me are ready to be seen, honored, and expressed in new ways? Take time to journal. Do some, if you do Reiki too, you can Reiki journaling as well. That's what I meant by energetic journaling. You can do a whole Reiki session with it, clear the negative energies, raise the vibration. If you wish to, if you're in my Patreon, my Inspiring You Patreon for the Meditate with Me in all access levels. Also, we will be doing some of this at the end of this month. But if you are in my Reiki box level and those other levels, Meditate with Me in all access, if you haven't sent me your intentions this month to be Reiki and add to the Reiki box, feel free to send it. And I will print and Reiki them, add them to the Reiki box. Layer the tips and tools to support yourself. Also, another thing you can do is nervous system support. Practice longer exhales to regulate the vagus nerve. Give yourself permission to rest as your system recalibrates. Use gentle self touch. Place one hand on your heart, one hand on your stomach to bring presence to your center. Utilizing another tool for integration is your body as a compass, grounding into your energy field. When your body's reconstructing from within, your body is your tuning fork. It's always your tuning fork, but more so right now. It holds the wisdom your mind may not yet understand. So practice a mindfulness energy healing body scan in the morning. Where am I holding tension, resistance, or numbness? Where am I holding tension, resistance, or numbness? And if you do Reiki, you can also do your Reiki hands there. Place your hands there, take a deep breath, let the sensation soften without needing to fix it. You can also do light tapping on your heart or on your solar plexus or sacral chakras if that resonates with you. You can just do 2 to 3 fingers gently tapping light. It helps to release energy stuck in survival based entities and identity structures. So it helps to release energy stuck in survival based identity structures. You can also put your hands hovering over too if you want to do some Reiki. Create a soul alignment inventory. This is a powerful mindfulness practice. Review the major categories in your life: work, relationships, home, creative expressions, habits, and ask, is this aligned with who I'm becoming? Is this aligned with who I'm becoming? Is this choice supporting my energy, my light, my joy? What do I need to shift to feel more soul authentic here? Even if the answer is I don't know yet, that awareness is a form of soul presence. Rebuilding starts with awareness, not with action. And then also do Reiki or dowsing or energy clearing, release residue from old identities. So, do your preferred energy modality. Clear your aura, your energy field. Use this intention if it resonates. I now release all energetic cords, beliefs, attachments that no longer resonate with my reconstructed self for the highest good. And I call back my power, my light, and my truth for the highest good and gratitude. Allow the clearing to be gentle. You don't need to force healing. Just be open to what's ready to go. And then use intentions, affirmations, mantras to let the frequency lead. Instead of rushing into decisions, practice this. I move only from presence. I act from alignment. I trust the unfolding. I move only from presence. I act from alignment. I trust the unfolding. Say it out loud while placing one hand on your chest, one on your stomach if that resonates. This can reset your nervous system while strengthening your intuitive center, my friends. Also, practicing pause before action, the art of soulful response. So these are all ways to integrate this theme. Reconstruction isn't built in urgency. It's grounded in responsiveness. Before making choices this month, pause and ask, am I choosing from clarity or fear? Am I choosing from clarity or fear? Am I recreating old patterns or allowing something new to emerge? Oh, please. I'm just gonna have a moment. Please, God, please, baby Jesus. Let me allow something new to emerge for the highest good and not recreate old patterns. I call that when you notice you're going around the mulberry bush and you're like, wait, I've already done this. Humor too. Bring humor in it. Humaning is an adventure, y'all. So yeah, pause and ask, am I choosing from clarity or fear? Am I recreating old patterns or am I allowing something new to emerge for the highest good? Let silence be your filter, let alignment be your answer. You can also muscle test too, your body. Oftentimes a no would be your body goes back, and then a yes would be your body goes forward. Sometimes it could be the other way, but usually that's the case. But just test what your yes or no is, and then just muscle test it. And wait, if you're making a choice, am I choosing this from clarity? Is this clarity? Yes or no? And the yes is, if your yes is forward, that's clarity. Am I choosing, is this fear? Yes or no? And if the fear is yes, then you know. Or if you do dowsing, it'll be much quicker with dowsing because you can just ask in the yes or no. Just make sure you're making yourself a clear channel and that you're, it might be easier to ask somebody who doesn't have any emotional connection to it if you're really caught up in the answer. Um, but you want to just make yourself a clear channel. All right. So also presence practices, meditation, walking in nature without distraction, sit in stillness. You can just put your hands on your chest and ask, like, what's true now? What's true now? What's true now? And then another one for integration practice is visualizing the reconstructed self. So here's a mindfulness energy work exercise. You can close your eyes and then, you can shift to the quantum space and then imagine, sense, visualize, connect with your future self because your future self has already integrated the soul frequency. So connect with your future self, download the information, ask your future self, hey, future self, what do they look like now? How do they move? How do they speak? Future self, download me the information with ease and grace for the highest good. Hey now. So ask them, what message do you have for me right now? So do a visualization with the reconstructed self by connecting from the present self to the future self and download the information. And then write it down to let it guide you. You'd be surprised by how much information you can get. If you do dowsing, you can very easily connect to future self. All right, so here are some affirmations, intentions, journal prompts, some more journal prompts. So this month's energy is asking again, not for urgency, but for clarity. So let these words support your nervous system, your inner knowing, and your frequency as you navigate the sacred process of reconstruction. So here, I did ask that Reiki is sent to this talk. So these intentions and affirmations are Reiki if you want to receive them. Repeat after me if they resonate with you. These intentions can act as an energetic blueprints, clearing the old and anchoring the new if you wish to receive for the highest good. Because remember, you have free will. You call to you what you want. All right, let's do some intentions if you wish to. I release the identities, roles, and beliefs that no longer support the truth of who I am becoming. I release the identities, roles, and beliefs that no longer support the truth of who I am becoming. You can even put your hands on your heart and do Reiki hands too. One on your heart and one on your stomach if you wish to. We are still going through that solar plexus clearing and activating. I honor this liminal space as sacred, trusting that clarity will emerge from stillness. If you're not repeating after me, please feel free to do this either out loud or to yourself. I honor this liminal space as sacred, trusting that clarity will emerge from stillness. Don't forget to take deep breaths in between, too. I choose to rebuild my inner and outer world from love, presence, and aligned purpose. I choose to rebuild my inner and outer world from love, presence, and aligned purpose. I release the need to rush and allow each moment to reveal what is truly meant for me. I release the need to rush and allow each moment to reveal what is truly meant for me. I trust the reconstruction process. I know I'm being guided by my highest self. I trust the reconstruction process. I know I'm being guided by my highest self. I'm open to the wisdom of my soul and allow it to lead the way forward. I'm open to the wisdom of my soul and allow it to lead the way forward. Take a nice deep breath. We're going to continue with some more now. Really repeat these if they resonate out loud or quietly to yourself. Let them be felt in your body, though, not just spoken from your mind. All right, let's continue. I'm safe to begin again. I'm safe to begin again. My life is being reconstructed in alignment with my soul's truth. My life is being reconstructed in alignment with my soul's truth. I trust the unknown. It holds my next becoming. I trust the unknown. It holds my next becoming. Each breath guides me closer to clarity, embodiment, and peace. Each breath guides me closer to clarity, embodiment, and peace. I rebuilt not from who I was, but from who I truly am. I built not from who I was, but from who I truly am. Stillness is not emptiness, it is sacred ground for transformation. Stillness is not emptiness, it is sacred ground for transformation. My past is not my architecture. My soul is. My past is not my architecture. My soul is. Presence is enough. I am enough. Presence is enough. I'm enough. What is meant for me is already finding me. What is meant for me is already finding me. And so it is, my friends. And so it is. Yes, it is. Take a nice deep breath. Whew. Feels good. Those felt good. All right. So here are some more journal prompts for rebuilding from the inside out. These questions support introspection, reconstruction of your inner landscape. What old identities, roles, or beliefs am I being asked to release? Where do I feel the invitation to rebuild, but don't have clarity yet? What does reconstruction from the heart look like in my life? What energetic patterns or choices no longer fit the person I'm becoming? What inner architecture do I want to create from my soul's wisdom? What does my inner knowing say in the next loving step in the reconstruction? So take some time to journal these questions. I will put them in the show notes at some point. We're going to be finishing this up now. And also, just to connect this theme with April's astrology. So, Venus conjunct the North Node, April 3rd. When I just said that, I had a moment where earlier this month, oh man, my solar plexus was like so tight at some points, and I was doing one of the podcast episodes, and I was just listening to a clip of it. And when I said North Node, and one of them I said nod, North Nod, and I had to laugh because I'm like, oh my God, I knew that was when my solar plexus was so tight. I have so much compassion for the human. Human just, it just, every day is like a new adventure. So anyway, I just had to acknowledge that because if you heard me say it, y'all, I was on the struggle bus. That solar plexus clearing and activation was no joke. Okay. And that's where too, just finding the humor in it. It just brings so much relief to the human to just laugh like about it and acknowledge it. We're here to learn, grow, and evolve. It's not about perfection, y'all. It's about evolving. And then recognizing where you are. And it's not right, wrong, good, or bad. It's the business of the isness. All right, so this theme is deeply supported by April's astrology. Venus conjunct North Node, which was on April 3rd, a call to align with the heart truth and soul-aligned relationships. Also, Venus conjunct Saturn, April 7th, grounding the heart vision into structure, choosing emotional maturity and responsibility. I was just having a conversation with one of my good friends about emotional maturity just yesterday. And if she's listening, hello, friend. All right, Venus stations direct, April 12th, 13th, depending where you are in the world. The reflection is over. Time to embody what we've learned about worth, love, and truth. So this transit asks, what are you committing to from your soul, and how will you honor that in the way you build? All right, we'll do the closing energy meditation, a soul rebuilding invocation. So once again, if it's safe to do so, place one hand on your heart, one hand on your stomach, your solar plexus, and then take a nice deep, you can close your eyes, lower your gaze. Take a nice deep breath in through your nose and then out through your mouth slowly. Do that 2 more times. All right, now let the breath go into its normal breathing. And now see, sense, imagine, visualize a golden spiral of light gently forming at your heart. A golden spiral of light gently forming at your heart. It expands with each breath, spiraling outward, connecting to your throat, your stomach, your feet, your crown, all your chakras, meridians, nadis, and bodies. A golden spiral of light gently forming at your heart, expanding with each breath, spiraling outward, connecting to your throat, your stomach, your feet, your crown, all your chakras, meridians, nadis, and bodies. And then with each inhale, silently say, I return to my center. And then with each exhale, say, I rebuild with presence. I return to my center. I rebuild with presence. I return to my center. I rebuild with presence. And now imagine, sense, visualize a bridge of light forming before you. With that, now you're stepping forward, not into the past, but into your soul led future. One step at a time, one light truth at a time. So imagine a radiant bridge of light forming before you. You're stepping forward, not into the past, but into your soul led future. One step at a time, one light truth at a time. Let yourself stay here for a moment and let that feeling anchor into your field. Take a nice deep breath now. You are, my friends, safe, you're whole, you're ready. You're safe, you're whole, you're ready. Take another deep breath. And so it is, my friends. And so it is. So before we fully come back, let's just take a moment to delink. So if this resonates with you, you can repeat after me. It's always just good to practice energy hygiene. I asked to break this link with this mindfulness talk. I asked to break this link with this Reiki session. I asked to break the links, leaving only harmony and balance at either ends. I asked to clear any residual energies being held in my body as a result of these links. I ask the light to fill all the voids, solves, rejuvenates, refreshes, revitalizes for the highest good with ease and grace and gratitude. Take another deep breath. Bring awareness behind your eyes. Start to move your body and open your eyes and welcome back. Welcome back, my friends. Here's the Reiki blessing. May your heart be the compass that guides your reconstruction. May your mind be softened by clarity and trust. May your energy be gently realigned to match your soul's highest vision. May you rebuild your world from peace, love, purpose, and deep inner knowing. You're not behind, you're becoming, and you are deeply, deeply supported. And so it is, my friends, and so it is. With that, my friends, thank you so much for being here with me. Thank you for listening. If you can, my friends, if this has supported you, please like, please leave a comment, please share. I'd appreciate it. Thank you so much for my friends. Thank you for showing up for yourself and being part of this collective rising. I'll see you in the next episode so we can continue walking this sacred path together. Much, much love. Until soon, and